guys, and welcome to my channel. This is a support group requested video, and this survivor has asked me if I can make more videos on queen topic and self-love. So obviously she enjoyed the series that I made a little while ago when I was touching on some very important topics and considerations that I highly recommend for women, and even men can take from some of this information, from some of it, but it's more geared towards those that are in their feminine energy. All right. So I will tag those videos or some of those videos to the end of this one if you want to hear more content on this. And actually, I'll go ahead and create a playlist because I don't think I've put them under a playlist quite yet. So I'll create a playlist and put them all there so you can, check in and see any new content moving forward. But you can always, of course, hit that bell so that YouTube can notify you. So it's very important, on a channel like this where I'm trying to empower both the feminine and the masculine energy. So my videos are for both. So even if I'm making this video for the feminine energy to take note or take into consideration, the masculine energy can listen to this as well. And this will be things that you can look for when you're trying to determine a healthy woman. For you guys out there who have attracted a lot of narcissistic women and toxic relationships that just have not gone right for you, and you're trying to even figure out, what should I be looking for in a woman, you could actually watch videos like this that I'm giving advice to women who are trying to be healthy minded or, put their best foot forward. And these are the type of things that you can be observing about her personality and the way that she's carrying herself. So don't, narrow your focus when I make a video like this to speak to the feminine energy. You could listen to this and take from it as well to help you when you're trying to get to know a feminine energy that comes into your stratosphere, if you will. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about why some women seem to perpetually end up with the shorter end of the stick. Like they just seem to perpetually attract loser after loser, or you're in a situation where, dang, like, have any of them, been what I needed them to be? Have any of this been reciprocated for me? I'm always the one ending up taking the losses or just having a nasty taste in your mouth after these relationships. And granted, for those of you who are out here dating, even if the person is not for you, meaning ultimately, that wasn't your husband, it doesn't have to always be this horrible situation where you feel like you got used, you got played, you got manipulated, you got walked all over, and all of this kind of thing. So I want to make this video to shine a light on what could be happening if you feel like you're in a perpetual state of constantly choosing losers, or, people who just aren't sufficient. They just aren't adequate for you and your life, what you want, what you really want, what you feel like you really deserve. Okay. Because chances are one or a few or even all of these things on this list might be an area that you need to look into for yourself and approve upon and figure out what you can be doing better. Okay. So it looks like I have 7 areas or, considerations on this topic. Why some women keep picking losers. And like I said, of course, there are more reasons, but I try to think of more prominent reasons or things that, most the big dogs, if you will. Okay. Because enough really has to be enough, and especially for those of you who have been abused a lot, it's time for you to get out of that energy. It's time for you to, just take those lessons and move forward and get better. Okay. So here are some things. Please open your mind. Please be willing to be open and honest with yourself, because you can't change what you are not willing to recognize. All right. With that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and talk about these things. All right. The first thing that I'm going to talk about right now is standards. Okay. And I know that might sound like a no-brainer. Look at that. The dogs is already barking. They don't want this information to get out. All right. So yeah, let's hold on a second. All right. So the first thing that I have here on my list, you guys, is standards. All right. And that might sound like a no-brainer, but hear me out here and let's think about this. Standards by Google's definition is a level of quality. Quality being the key word in that definition here. So I really want you to consider the standards that you have. Are they even high enough to render quality? That's going to be like a big question right there. The standards that you have currently been holding, okay, are they even high enough to render quality, to actually render quality in your life? Okay, because chances are they're not high enough to render that quality. Also, your standards could be stemming off of short-term fleshful gratifications. What if it's, some women are in so much letting their shadow side operate in them in a way of they just want a warm body, for instance. And guess what? If a guy has a pulse, he qualifies at that point. Obviously that's not enough of a standard. But when we are being ran by our shadow side and we are not having control over that, then, the standards are not going to be high enough at that point. All right. So if you need attention and this guy is unemployed, so he's able to give you a lot of attention, isn't he? So he's feeling a shallow need, but this is a short-term feel that should make you sick to your stomach. Okay. But where is this going to lead long term? And that's for those of you who want to have a husband. And even if you don't, I have like a firm policy of not messing with people that if something did slip up in your life, you slipped up and got pregnant by them. And even will you slip lightly, because there's a hell of a lot of birth control that can prevent stuff like this nowadays, okay? But, most of it is not 100%, so I'll sidebar that. But either way, when we are using these shadow, short-term needs that we're trying to fill with these guys, the standards are not going to be sufficient, and we're going to be building on sand at that point. We're going to be building on sand at that point. So the first thing that we really need to consider is our standards. And some of you are just constantly changing them as well, and that's a problem. Now, if they're not high enough, of course, they need to be changed. But then if they're high, but you're constantly knocking your standards down, this is why you're not getting what you need, because you keep settling for less at that point. So if your standards aren't high enough because you're so desperate for the relationship, you're like, well, you know what? It was really important to me to have someone that was going to be a strong provider and a strong protector. And I got this person, we're really good in these ways and I really like them, but they're not a strong provider. And that doesn't make me feel protected. That's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue sooner than you think. Sooner than you think. So, you can keep going like this is going to be some type of denial, or you can say, you know what, I got to nip this in the bud now. All right. So if we keep lowering those standards just so that we can stay in that relationship, basically, then that's going to be a problem, because resentment is going to build up because you still want what you want. They just can't give it to you. And you're basically mind fucking yourself at that point to make them still fit the bill. And subconsciously, guess what? You're still very much turned off by that situation. So we really need to take a look at our standards and first and foremost, make sure that they are adequate, and then once they're adequate, don't keep changing them. Either they can fit them or they can't. All right. And realize that by changing them and lowering them, it's an inevitable little snowball going down a mountain. Like in the cartoon, it gets bigger and bigger. It's going to hit the fan eventually. All right. And then if it's built on sand, of course, as soon as a wave comes, it's going to knock it down anyway. Right. So either way, we're going to have to really look at these standards and make sure that they can even render quality for us. Because oftentimes that's the problem. All right. We can't attain it, the quality, without having the standards that would yield it. Okay. So the next thing that I have on here, of course, is going to be boundaries. All right. Your standards is the level of quality, or is basically is what you're looking for. Your boundaries is how you protect that, how you guard or shield those standards. Okay. So are men just blowing all over them? You have an expectation of this. They set an expectation of that, and what they say goes. So that is a problem right there. So, I would think that the woman that keeps attracting the loser, she's too submissive. All right. In the wrong way. There's a right way to be submissive, and there's a wrong way to be submissive. Number one, the nigga ain't even your husband, okay? You just dating right now, and he's coming in, calling all these shots and doing this and that. Like, ain't even paid the cost to be the boss, I'm quite sure at that point, because he's a loser, right? So giving your power away, letting people just run all over your boundaries, which inevitably is running all over your standards, okay? So if it's your standard that, like, let's say you meet a guy, and this is a true red flag, and he says to you, well, I don't really like to go out like that. What? You don't like to go out like that? So you're trying to set a standard for me right now to say that you're not into whining and dining. You ain't trying to be taking me out, because that's how you got to take that. You ain't trying to go out with me, but you want me to swallow that, okay? No, my boundaries is that I don't come and just hang with men at their house. That's not my standard, and I have a boundary for that. I go out and get to know you in public. I like to have experiences. But the simple fact that you would even have to have that conversation with him should let you know right off the rip that he is disqualified. Thank you. I would be mentally thank you for letting me know that about you. There's no conversation, because I wouldn't want to feel like I would have to convince a guy of something so fundamental. Assume that he has something to hide. He's probably not even legit single. And if he is single, he's just looking for a fun girl or a friends with benefits, or someone that is a placeholder. He's not trying to invest in a real relationship, because when a guy is doing that, he wants to roll out the red carpet when he's looking for his wife. And even if he's seriously dating, looking for a long-term relationship or someone he could be committed with, he's going to want to go out and do these things. Okay? So all of that, has to be taken into consideration. So you got to have boundaries around things. You're not ready to have sex, but he is. And this is, giving it up too soon, or before you feel ready, or before he has invested into you, before he has become monogamous with you, or, it's to each his own. If you're not looking for a monogamous situation, but still, not giving it up before you're ready to, it's your body. It's your body. But giving it up to try to keep the man. Oh, if I don't comply with him, he's going to go to the next and go to the next. Shit. You know what I'm saying? We got to take these men off the throne. Got to take them off the throne. Got to take them off the throne. All right? And when you don't have these adequate boundaries, which is connected to your standards, these all run together, you guys. This is how one guy can treat one girl this way and another that way. And you could be sitting back like, wait a minute, he ain't never do that for me. He ain't never. Well, you know what? What were her standards and boundaries? That if he knew, if I want to fuck with her, I got to do this for her. where he felt like if he F with you, he ain't got to do it. You know what I'm saying? So this is why having those standards and those boundaries are so important, because he wouldn't even try to run that game with you. Okay? Because they know. They fill it out to see who they can have step with. And the fact that he would want to have step with you lets you know more about his character. But then when you see him move on and do it for the other girl, it's like, whoa. Yeah, he was completely capable of it. But of course, he's going to take the discount if he can get it. Okay? So that's going to be really important. The third thing that I have here on this list is just being unwilling to change. You know, 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2, ladies. It is. You keep doing things this way, and then that way is going to keep getting that result. All right. So sometimes we really need to change it up. You know, you're going to the same areas where it has the same kind of dudes, and you know, it's just things that we need to be able to change in that equation, change some factors here. Okay. Something's got to change. You can't keep doing the same thing expecting a new result. Okay, we got to change our approach. So sometimes we're just using the wrong approach, ladies. And it's like, okay, well, I'm willing to do things different now. That's a good sign, because doing it that way wasn't working for me. I got to do things differently. Something has to be different about this equation to even think of even getting a different result. Okay. The next thing on my list is that some of you just won't level up. Some of you will not level up to do what you have to do to get what you want. All right. If there's a certain kind of guy that you're going after, what kind of woman would he want? And are you that woman? And that's real. And that's very real, ladies. You want this kind of guy. He wants this kind of woman. So for you to even be on his radar, you got to be in sync with that. In sync with that. Now, there are always exceptions to the rules here, but generally speaking, they're not. You know, he wants what he wants, just like you want what you want. So if you want a certain kind of guy, you need to be able to foot the bill for the kind of woman that he's going to be attracted to. And that might mean that you need to be working on yourself in some shape, form, or fashion. And this isn't all external. It could be internal. You know, you need to have your self-confidence as well. You need to put yourself on a pedestal before you expect somebody else to put you on a pedestal. Because when you're all chaotic, you're going to attract more chaos into your life. You're going to attract other chaotic energies as well. Okay? You're out of order. You can keep attracting guys that are out of order, basically. All right. So you should be trying and striving for your best version. Keep working on yourself. You can't want him to have all of this stuff in a list. He need to be this. He need to be that. He need to be this. He need to be that. And then what are you doing on the other side? You know, what are you doing on the other side? You should be meeting that laundry list then of the things that he's going to want out of that kind of woman. Okay? Work on yourself and don't be giving those lazy efforts. You know, when I say level up, it could be everything. You might need to change your appearances. You might need a new hairstyle. You might need to update your wardrobe. You might need to spend some more time at the gym. You might need to get your teeth fixed if that's the case. You might need to maybe wear some contacts instead of glasses all the time. Maybe. I don't know. When you look in the mirror, are you happy with what you see? Do you feel like you're putting your best foot forward? Okay. You're going to have to level up, ladies. Level up. Leveling up, that could even be putting yourself in different social circles, networking with different people, with people who are where you want to be. If you're the smartest person in the room, you keep going around where, you know, these guys, they just out on the stoop all day, or they just the doughboys, or, you know, you need to put yourself in different atmospheres. All right. And you can fake it till you make it. You know, find out how the other women look when they go there, you know, and you can outdo them, shoot. But just see what the standard is. You'll see. You know, you will see. You will see. It's no different. Like, okay, I want to live in this neighborhood over here. When I drive around, I see what kind of cars the people in those neighborhoods typically drive in. I see who the women are and what they're doing. You know, you can take in that atmosphere and then you can mimic it or better. But you get an idea of what the standard is and what's going on. All right. So some of you keep attracting these losers simply because you won't level up. And maybe the guy that you want won't even give you a second look because of that. But the good news about it is there's so much help out here in 2019 going into a whole new decade that can help you with all types of areas of your life, ladies, and whatever you feel like may be blocking your self-esteem and your energy subconsciously until you get that fixed. You can work on that, okay? So the next thing that I have here on my list is some of you keep attracting these losers because you're naive. You don't know the game. You don't know the game. And I remember a time in my singleness where I was resentful towards the game. I'm like, why does it even have to be a game? I'm tired of this. Can't I just be me? Can't I just be this and da-da-da-da-da? But you know what? In a perfect world, yes, but we're not in a perfect world. There is a game going on, and we need to know what that game look like so we know which games we're going to pass up on and which not. Because some games are fun to play, right? And we get a prize and we win that game. We feel good at the end of it. And then some games are just boring, like, are just not even worth our time. Not even worth the investment. So we need to know the game, ladies, and how to play it. And, you know, instead of getting resentful for what it is, learn how to work with it and use it to your advantage. And I've made videos about working with the truth rather than trying to resist it. I can spend all day bitching that we even have a game that is all of this and that. Or I can say, okay, this is what it is. How can I use that to my advantage? How can I work with that to get what I want out of my mate, out of my future spouse, to attract this person that I deserve? Okay, so we can't be naive. We even have to know what it is. All right, and not be resentful about it, but use it to your advantage. All right. So the next thing that I have here on my list is low self-esteem, of course, and not really having that hope that you can get better. So some women are attracted because subconsciously they really don't feel like they can get better than that. That makes sense. If I really don't think I can get better, I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to gravitate towards that. Well, this is what my mom had, my mom. This is what my aunts had and my sisters. Like, this is just what it is. I don't really see anybody that can get X, Y, and Z. So, you know, I might as well just fall in line and settle for it as well. That's not true. All women are not getting that. Even if you have not been or seen that example around you, you can be the one to get it. You can be the one to break that generational curse. You can be the one to end up in that better situation. Okay? But if you already have low self-esteem, if you already feel beat down because you're using your past to be your present, you know, instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to take those lessons with me and be greater. You know, it ends with me. All right? So the last thing that I have here on my list, ladies, is not knowing how to assert yourself. All right, because we have this thing with being submissive and trying to be pleasant, trying to be this people pleaser to keep this man around. All right, not wanting him to run off, chasing him off type of thing. You know, being in fear, but not knowing how to assert your standards and enforce your boundaries without being masculine. So that's going to be something that some of you may need to work on, you know. And a lot of times when we've been victimized and abused and we have that victim mentality, that can make us extremely passive at that point. So you're really going to have to put extra attention to being assertive, okay? And not freezing and not having the cat bite your tongue when you need to be speaking up. Like, oh, no, I don't do that. I don't go to places like that. Or no, I won't do this. I won't do that. There's nothing wrong with the word no, okay? It protects you, as a matter of fact, all right? So these are some of the things, ladies, that we can think about and why some women keep picking these losers. Not having the proper standards, not having the proper boundaries, not knowing how to change your approach, not being willing to level up, being too naive, not understanding the game, having low self-esteem, therefore setting a low bar, and not knowing how to assert yourself. All right. So these are some things that you could begin to look at within yourself and why you keep picking these losers. The good news is you can change. I don't care if every guy you've ever dated has been a loser. That can be in the past now. You really can actually have this fresh start and get what you deserve. Okay. Just take your lessons with you, get your emotional maturity. And if you need to, I do offer coaching. I can help you through this dating process. All right. But, you know, your past does not have to predict your future for sure. And it just doesn't have to stay that way. All it's going to take is a change in your mentality and a change in your perceptions. And once you change it, you start to enforce it in your life with actions. Okay, unapologetically. And, you know, it's going to fall in line at that point. All right. So if this video resonated with you, go ahead and hit that like button. I will continue to talk about these types of things because I hate seeing women get less than they are worth. Okay. Is it less than they deserve? I don't know, because if they are settling for it, they're getting what they deserve because that's what they're accepting. That's what they deserve, is the effort and what they are actually accepting to them. But is it what they're actually worth? No, actually they're worth a lot more than that. But they're getting what they deserve because it's what they keep accepting. Okay, so there's a difference there. If I keep accepting it, do I deserve to get it? Yeah, on a certain level you do. So we have to stop accepting it so that we can get more. All right, ladies. So keep working on yourself. Check the description down below for my website, lakiacrawford.com, if you want to schedule that coaching and get more strategic about this, you know, because it's a game. It really is a game out here in this dating world, all right? You need to know the rules so you can win this game. All right, so check the description down below if you want to join the support groups or for anything that I have going on. You guys, is down. It's always down in the support in the description. All right, so keep working on yourself, of course. Never give up on yourself. And until next time, take care.